Barcelona confirmed yesterday that Busquets is off. That's what it says on the front page of Mundo Deportivo. Meanwhile, that also says he's going.
Sure?
Yeah, well, it's in Catalan, so I'm going to say yes.
Too many farewells these days.
Too many farewells. Good, let's moan about that. It's an extraordinary... He's won everything. Absolutely everything there is to win in the game. It's extraordinary resume. Frank, Gab and Kieran with us. I want to start with you. He's kind of the last piece of that pet puzzle.
Yes, and perhaps the underappreciated piece of that puzzle, because we quickly talk about Xavi, we quickly talk about Iniesta, but Busquets gave a platform for Iniesta and Xavi. He is a player from another era. And one of the things that has happened to Sergio Busquets is that the game has shifted and has gone in a different direction. And he hasn't been the athletic type. He hasn't been the runner. It's always been about how smart and intelligent his movement has been and how good and clean he is with getting the ball and moving the ball. Getting it and moving it and finding that passing game. And when that passing game is not the way that now the game is being played, it makes him, at times, I still think he is a very useful player, makes him at times redundant because you're looking for the physicality, you're looking for the back and forth, you're looking for the box to box, and he is not that guy. From a different era, from a different time, but a dominant era and a dominant time for Barcelona, he is, I think, and has been for the last 15 years or so, the best defensive midfielder, if you want to call him that, the best defensive midfielder, central midfielder in the world, in my opinion.
Kieran, your Arsenal team, of course, came up against that Barcelona side that was so brilliant. How important was Busquets to that success?
Oh, yeah, he was instrumental. I mean, the thing I love most about kind of Busquets and a lot of that era with the Xavis and Iniesta was that you would see them in the tunnel and they didn't look overly threatening physically, you know, as Ali was saying. And I compare them to teams like Chelsea or United during that time, you know, Vidic, Ferdinand, Rooney, Ronaldo, and then you had Chelsea, Drogba, Terry, Essien, LeBouf just before that. And they just looked big and strong and fast, and it was intimidating. But these guys, they didn't really have that, but they were just so intimidating in their brain. They just truly showed that if you're that good at football, you don't necessarily need all of that, and that's what I loved most about them. Their football brain was just so big. They're always 2 steps ahead. Their balance, agility, technical ability, understanding of each other. I mean, Sergio, the way he had a 360 view of the game, it was just incredible. Of the highest level, a true great.
Frank?
What can I say? I think is the heir apparent of Guardiola. Guardiola was the first guy in the world, you know, leading the game from that position, when before the number 6 was what we used to call a water carrier. And Guardiola changed that position to the guy who sees the most and decides for everything. And Busquets was kind of his son. Cleverness, technique, also sometimes, you know, annoying with his tricks, playing with the ref, being a little bit dirty. He had everything in his tools, and he was for me one of the best midfielder at the time because of everything he could produce for Barcelona defensively, but also offensively. And as everybody mentioned, his body wasn't ready for that. Nobody could expect that kind of guy with that thin, you know, maybe tall but not strong kind of body could survive 15 years at that top level. And credit to him, because of that cleverness, because of that smartness, the guy did what he had to do. And hat off to that guy, because what a career.
Gab?
I just echo what everybody says. I think his intelligence, his selflessness, people forget, if you think back to, some of the early Guardiola teams when, playing at center back, you'd have a guy like Javier Mascherano who, was a 5'9", maybe even smaller than that, midfielder, and both fullbacks would push up, and there'd be two guys left behind Busquets, and then Mascherano or whoever the other guy was, they would push up too, and in the end, he'd cover that too. He had such an ability, I think, to cover spaces, to help the team keep their balance. And I'm talking, obviously, when the ball was at the other end of the pitch. Obviously, guys all spoke about how well he moved the ball. And it was just a really, really big brain. I think the game has changed a little bit. I think Barcelona's approach has necessarily changed, perhaps even more so than some other teams. I think there's other teams you could go to and still be a major contributor. But, in some ways, leaving Barcelona now on a high with another league title is the best decision for him, because given Xavi's approach, I think had he stuck around another season, I don't think it would have gotten any easier.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.